Starting back up again on the Facebreaker build, last time we left off, we just finished taking out Katava. The build was starting to pick up a bit after I'd figured out how to get a little more damage on it with the addition of the second Iron Ring. I've collected a little bit more gear options as we're leveling up off the other character. Will help a little bit, I think, with increasing damage. So we've got alt necklace, alt ring. Don't know if that build's upgrade. Maybe if I can figure out where to get the rest of the resist from, that build will be an upgrade. So it's got more life, more damage. We got a really big shield here. So right now, obviously, we're going to start moving through Act 6. This build will finally have a body armor at apparently 58, no, 55. And we'll start contemplating what we're going to do as far as resists then, because that will probably get us, allow us to free up a little bit more resists, right? So we're...
It would be wrong to do that here.
It's not going to let me swap on period order in here, so we'll go out into the first zone so I can swap on period order, so we'll look at the defenses. I think I'm already going to be resist capped with the equipment I'm wearing in maps, right? So if we go in here and look at defenses, we're already resist capped for maps. And we have no body armor on, right? The body armor I'm thinking about putting on first has 2 of the resists already. So we're probably not going to have to worry as much about resist. We can start changing what we're wearing as we go. Hopefully, in trying to upgrade the damage, right? So. The easiest places to get damage, because we've got a big multiplier, a big more multiplier on fizz damage when it's an armed attack, is the amulet and rings. You can get flat fizz on attacks. That would be multiplied by that. So that's where I'm going to be in gear looking for damage right away. Whereas everywhere else I'm going to be sort of looking for the resists that I'm looking for. So we're going to start trying to move away from unique gear, because the unique gear was really good for allowing us to get flying through the first 3 acts. But it's starting to hold us back now that we're out of the first 3 acts, because it just doesn't have enough damage on it. Another thing I can look into as we get more slots is actually running some either offensive wars or defensive wars. Probably defensive wars. Run something like Vitality or Determination. If for no other reason than so that we can focus even more on attack on the rings and the amulet. Because right now we've got a really the unique amulet we have on is really defensive. Would like to move away from that if we can. Because that's one of the slots we can get flat fizz on. An Abyss on this character is not going to be super great. So hopefully it's not that rippy. And it shouldn't be because it's only Act 6. And as you can see, I am having some maps run in the background just so that my map tab can empty out a little bit using King's March. This is the second character on the server for me. So I'm already got stuff at endgame to do reasonable King's March run, which is why we're not doing the King's March quest stuff in zone, because the quest stuff at this level isn't super great for rewards. At least relative to time. This build isn't really doing enough damage to quickly clear them. me be far away from him or close to him? I think far away from him is what he wants. No, it's a shield, so I take speed penalty when near him, but I have to be near him to do damage. I don't necessarily like that, but this looks like what this guy's doing. Yeah, and as you're saying, one thing I'd like more on this build right now is I'd like a lot more damage, because again, it's not really struggling in the tankiness department. It just doesn't have the damage I'd like. And it's going to do even better in the defensive department as soon as I actually get some real armor on this build. This is the first, well, this is the first optional zone in Act 6. This unlocks, if you haven't unlocked a vendor for it yet, this unlocks one of the earlier vendors you can get, which will have all the gems on them for sale. Obviously, because I've been to endgame, I can go buy those gems on a different character. But this is going to unlock the ability to buy it on this character without having to go to... Because I technically have that vendor also in town, or in the hideout zone. So this will just put one in town. So it isn't super important to this quest. So if you're trying to speedrun it, you probably skip this quest. I'm also running this quest because it's just a good opportunity to farm up XP. No, there's one monster remaining besides the one I'm currently fighting. And one thing this build will probably help this build a little bit right now is actual levels. I'm 48 in a 45 zone, which is actually probably around about where you want to be. So I could probably just move on and it wouldn't be a problem. But if I get too far ahead of my skis again, I'll be regretting it from a damage standpoint probably, or from a life standpoint, because we're getting to the point where you get a lot of life from leveling. And I've got most of the life I'm probably going to get in gear for a while. Okay, so we got one monster left. I don't think that's the monster, so we'll go find out. Are you the monster? Yeah, you're definitely the monster. There we go. So that completes that quest. That now means that Lily will be a vendor. Might at some point go and revise. Probably swap away from Impale. Revise what gems I'm using on my Val Ground Slime. Because I don't think Impale is working super well for me. I think I can swap that out from attack speed.
How you go?
So we can leave your quest, so it's only respec points, but from now on she'll also be a vendor, so we can buy, as I said, we can buy gems from her. Not quite what we want. So, sell you. The rest of this can get slammed in the stash. What I'm seeing is apparently gold is shared between characters. So I guess I'm not actually tracking how much gold I'm getting as I'm leveling. Because I'm probably depositing it every time I'm on the SRS build. Whoops. Oh, the SRS build would still be confusing the matter anyway, so... so this is the second zone. Second zone in Act 6 is very similar to the second zone in Act 1, where you can basically just follow the coastline along until you get to the way out to the sort of Isthmus Island place, where you have a side quest. Unlike the first side quest, which is giving you a flask, I think this gives you something a little bit more useful. And also I frequently just take the detour for a little more XP. And as you see, I'm not gonna... I was talking about, like, you probably don't want to necessarily run through zones, because I just did all the last zone. I don't need the XP from this zone, so I'm just sort of running through this zone. Because I did an optional, I don't need to do a bunch of fighting in there, because that makes me need the XP less. So I can just move on to the next objective. Coming in here. Want to kill the person who's taken the Frost Zombies place on this little tidal island. Plus it's called tidal island because depending upon the tide it is an island, is where that comes from. Because obviously we walked out here, so it's not exactly an island right now. And again, we don't necessarily need to kill everything here. We do want to kill some stuff just so we're continuing to level up. And right now I'm clearing things just so that I'm not being attacked while I'm in the passive menu. Just making the fact that I'm constantly attracting more things a little annoying. The Regal Orb. If you're trying to run tier 16 maps and you're struggling, one thing you can do is you can magic them. And then regal them to get a really weak 16. So here I can grab more attack damage based on armor on the shield. Which right now is only like 6% more damage, but the shield I'm going to upgrade to at 59 is going to give me like 18% more damage, so that'll be a nice upgrade. You don't need to do the Val side area. So here's Riptide, you're replacing the Frost Zombie. We don't technically need to kill Riptide, I could just take the thing out of the chest behind it. But this is sort of just to test the damage. The damage is feeling a lot better now. Still maybe not as high as I would like it, but it's still a lot better. So we can pick up his manuscript, and then we can leave. We'll still probably kill things that run into the way. If they're convenient to kill. That extra life rare is not going to be a great time to kill something and skip it. Next is into the mud flights. In here we need to kill the zone unique. To get it to drop a thing we need to go into the next zone. So again, we don't necessarily need to kill everything or kill anything really in here besides that unique. But I am going to kill some stuff again to keep generating XP. Something similar. Strongbox should be, at least a white Strongbox should be quick enough to get good XP out of. One thing I am looking for that I should pick up if I see is more iron rings. Because I can hit those with essences to generate good damage mods. There's what we're looking for. We're looking for the Disarmed Queen. clear the chaff out. It should be fairly easy to take her down safely. We don't need to go say hi to Nessa, so we'll leave Nessa over there. I suppose technically talking to Nessa is sort of a quest, but it's not, like, you don't achieve anything seeing her on this map. So in here we get the first of the deities that we defeat permanently. I believe once you've defeated him, you can go back to town for 1 XP point. I might not run right back to town right away, just to keep the tempo up. Come to the fact that though I have an idea of what I'm building, I don't actually know exactly what I want to take next. Probably actually work towards more endurance charges, but I'm not 100% sure about that. At some point I should probably be looking for shoes as well. We can see decent shoes. I didn't pick that one up because we're mainly looking for strength or strength dex shoes. And that was a knit shield, or in boots. Okay, note to self. Don't get hit with a slam. So this guy's a phase boss as well. Thing that changes with his phase is when he goes into... When he drops to half, he'll summon some protective totems. And those protective totems will prevent him from taking damage until you destroy them, and there'll be 4 of them, so you have to run around and destroy all 4 of them. If you've tuned into me doing the SRS build, you've basically seen the map version of this. I've probably been on the map version a couple times on stream. Interesting. I don't know why I'm doing more damage to him than I'm doing to his totems. I'm not entirely understanding why I'm doing so little damage to the totems. I was doing pretty decent damage to him. Totems are still going to go down. This is not a particularly threatening fight for this build. It's just the low damage against the totems particularly that is disappointing. As against him, it was doing pretty good. And that's him. I'll pick up the shark skin boots. We probably won't wear those shark skin boots. So that's not any good. No movement speed in there, so definitely not.
The soil wants for your blood no more.
Because it's the first god we kill. If we talk to Sin, he'll bring up the Pantheon table, and we can slot in the Pantheon effects. We only have one choice, so we'll just take the one choice we have. That's actually not necessarily the worst buff right away. 3% more failure resistance while stationary. Meaning when you're standing stationary for burn phases, if you don't remember to start moving quickly enough and take a slime or something like that, that might be the difference between life and death. Generally not something you want to take advantage of though, because one of the best ways to avoid damage is to physically avoid damage. So as you can see with this build, we're decently tanky, so there are circumstances where we just sort of take blows on the nose because we can. Those boots might be useful. Let's see. Maybe. Probably tolerate losing that fire resist. How many suffixes do we have on here? No suffix. Well, one suffix. So I could probably make that workable. Obviously, we can't make it workable out here in the zone. So when we go back to town next, we can potentially swap those boots. Go back to the hideout, throw some fire resist on it, and do a boot swap. Usually on boots, what you're looking for is movement speed and like one good resist. Movement speed and like 2 mediocre resists would be fine as well. And as you can see with those boots, right? Okay, that's got movement speed on it, so I can add via benchcraft crafting a decent resist on it. So those would be usable boots. And we're already overcapped on fire resist, so we can very happily... In fact, I could probably put those boots on right now. I'm saying I probably shouldn't put those boots on right now, but there's nothing really stopping me. Other than things actively stopping me. I need to fix some slots first before I do that. I want to keep Flame Dash on something, so I need at least 1 blue slot somewhere. I have to go back to town to fix that, so I'm not going to do that right now. Oops, I hadn't meant to do that. So this is a way to test how good the build is by just clearing the zone that I'm clearing the event I accidentally cleared. So on this one, when you activate it, you get these corrupted growths become active. You clear the event by killing all the corrupted growths. The event technically gets harder the more growths you clear. So the more growths it has, the harder the event's going to be in general. But then it calms down. Well, obviously once you've cleared a growth, it stops spawning, right? So you get a wave of hardened spawns every one you kill. But the sort of slow replacement of like the generic mooks slows down a bit. So it switches slowly for quantity to quality as you move through it. And then obviously when you destroy them all, you clear the event, and then it stops spawning, so you hopefully can clear what's left fairly easily. I think that was the energy shield on that guy making him as tanky as was. And again, we're sort of zooming through this map, or zooming through the zone, just to get out of Acts, at least out of the earlier parts of Act 6. Again, we're resist capped already. Act 6 is one of the zones where people who play hardcore will say you probably want to be resist capped for. But it's kind of balanced around the presumption that you maybe aren't resist capped anymore. Because you did just come off of Katava, and Katava just took 30% resists. So it's pretty reasonable in here that you might be like 15 below cap. This build is capped, so it's not a problem for this build. But for other builds, you might be in a scenario where you might not be quite capped. Zone unique, so he's going to have extra XP for killing him. So we'll take the time to kill him. We found him. I wouldn't normally go looking for him, but if we've already found him, finishing him off is not going to be a problem. I think it was recommending that spiky maul because of the slots on it, but because we're Facebreaker built, that doesn't mean anything to us, which is why I'm walking past it. And my other character I have right now doesn't care about it either. And I don't have evident stash tabs, so as much as I am a hoarder, that is low enough value. I'm not going to bother hoarding it. Another XP. I got another level. We're coming right up on the zone transition. Right about now. How's the damage going? Oh yeah, you're easily kill. We're gonna finish you off like so. And here's the zone transition. I suppose here. I believe this. Yeah, there's a portal right here. Here's a decent time to go back to base. So I'll quickly go back to base, pick up the skill point. And fix the slot so I can swap over to those new boots. Because I think the new boots will just make it faster, which will help catch us up, right? So it's 15% movement speed faster. Yeah, that'll help us fly through the zones a little faster. So we give Bastiel his thing. We'll take the roll at the belt. He'll give us the skill point. 2 skill points. Where am I going to invest these skill points? Actually, I know where I'm going to invest these skill points. We're going to go 1, 2, pick up another endurance charge max. The next endurance charge is down here, so we do there. Yeah, being ignited when maximum endurance charges might actually be really interesting. Oh, and 3% increased damage per endurance charge would be potentially interesting, so some skill points there. We can come down the other side of the shield down here. We've got shield up here. I think the shield up here also provides some elemental resist, which would be nice. Because then I can be more flexible on the shields. Are we block capped? We are block capped. No overcap on the spell block right now. But as we pick up more block stuff, we'll overcap and probably want to trade some stuff away. Trade some, well, probably swap out a glancing blow so that we can be a little bit more efficient with block. So you're junk. Might not be junk for your build, but it is junk for my build. We're going to go back to the hideout quickly so I can slap a blue slot on that boot. I can slap well, I'm going to slap a slot there, so I'm going to 4-socket it. I'm going to be lazy and 4-link it. I need a blue and a red somewhere. They don't need to be on this item. Well, I need a blue somewhere. The red's easy to fix. Okay. So let's go ahead and slap one blue slot in here. Maybe not the most efficient move in the long run, but short run it will work good. So there's our flame dash locked away. Put you away. Now we should be moving a little faster. I think it's war cries. I need war cries when we use. Let's see. Or cry. Yes. If you spell cry right, you'll find them better. Because we want to, if we can, we want to exert our slams. Because that'll give us some more damage. Could do Intimidating Cry. That exerts, gives them some elemental resist. Yeah, let's go that one. Let you in. You know, I'll stick to one exerting attack so I don't have to do too much button mashing as we're going along.
The name's too, Jim. You ought to do the dirty work while we do the...
And now back into the zone, and hopefully that combined will give us a bunch more damage. Is that the way up already? So I just need to get over there in a timely manner? Sounds like it. Looks like it. Doors. I think we're in the right way. Not exactly the right way. So, if this is the first time through, that would have been the right way. Just go over to that door over there to get the trial, which you want to do your first time through. You only have to do it once per server, I think. So this character doesn't want to do it, because I did it on the SRS build. That, in theory, just makes the map harder. So if you're doing something where you're doing a hard act boss, you probably want to leave that to the end. But in this one, where we're just trying to get out of the out of the map or the zone, it's not really all that bad. So I've just picked it up. It's basically just adding more environmental hazards, which, if you're aware of it, is probably not that bad. The environmental hazards, if you were here earlier in the stream, so it won't be in the YouTube VOD, but earlier in the VOD on Twitch, when I was doing the SRS build, you can probably see how much the environmental stuff can hit, and it's non-trivial. I was wondering what was killing all my minions. And it was they were getting caught up in one of the cyclones from the environmental stuff. I'm confused. I think that's working. But I need to remember to use it. So I believe that's the buff we see on the top left corner, and then it exerts a certain number of attacks. I don't know what the 8 on the skill is signifying, because I generally don't use exerted attacks. I didn't use exerted attacks the last time I built this and took it to maps. Which would have been leagues ago. me appreciating the fact that I have the regen mastery that lowers people's regen. Because otherwise that guy with regen probably would have not been easy to kill with this build right now. We're not the highest DPS of builds. Got good AoE. Or at least good multi-target with the slam. Which if I have a problem with the cry, I may have picked the wrong cry that doesn't affect slams. In which case I'll have to fix that between videos probably. I'll double check between videos which ones works on slams. So we don't want to do you. That one's pretty easy in that it's just a fight. You trigger it, you kill all the monsters spawn, and you get the reward. Nothing particularly gimmicky about it other than the particular monsters that it spawns. The type of monsters it spawns. It's spawning, what? Beyond monsters? I should remember what those monsters are called. I played that one. I actually like that. Like, that was a nice mechanic. The popping over to a different map mechanic was pretty nice. Bit of a shame it's gone. The mechanic it now sort of pseudo replaces. So the monsters are now tied as a particular monster type to replace something else. And I'm not necessarily appreciative of that change because it sort of makes that model a lot less interesting if you accidentally spawn the boss early. Because the bosses usually aren't worth your time from a reward standpoint. There's the cool factor of running into those bosses, but they were a lot cooler when the boss was on a timer. Well, sort of on a timer. You had to be close enough to them to get the timer to stop. So we're going to that staircase in the middle, so we gotta go all the way around to get to that staircase. So as I hit this guy, I'm spawning a bunch of exploding crystals, so I have to be real careful when he finally goes, because the crystals go off. So you gotta get out of the area so you don't get hit with the crystals. And those crystals can add up. I've definitely been, if I wasn't paying attention, clowned by them before. Okay, now we're up here at sort of what this is, what the zone's mid-boss is. The non-optional mid-boss, you have to kill this guy. So, unlike the first time we fought Brutus, where Brutus was pure fizz damage, this Brutus, after he goes through his first phase, where he swaps his Ravone, is going to become hybrid fizz lightning. But at least this build right now is having decent damage. We can see that it's not really struggling too bad against Brutus. And it is lightning capped, so making the damage hybrid, it might actually make us more resistant to Brutus. Rather than less resistant. I think it's more damage before mitigation, but I think we actually have more resistance to lightning than we do to physical, so... Oh, we should have more resistance to the lightning than we do against physical. My ugly character's been called out for being ugly. Stay down here so I can hit you. So I believe... Where'd she go? There she went. I thought for a moment she'd done the merger earlier than I expected. But nope, she just teleported to the other side of the arena to be annoying. Yeah, so this build's doing decent to as far as this is concerned. It's doing decent damage at this moment. I think my old SRS build would still do more damage than this, but obviously the SRS build's not as tanky. This build, this build, we're running what is currently the functional equivalent of block capped. Even though it's glancing blows block camp, and as this build goes on, I think it'll actually get to full basically equivalent to block cap, even without glancing blows. So it might not be super impressive right now, but it should be getting better, even in the tankiness department. And the damage still has a lot of work to go. There's still a lot more damage on the table to pick up. I just haven't been doing the best job of picking it up. So you can get flat bonus to attacks on rings and amulets. We're running a unique ring, or we're running a unique amulet that doesn't have any. We're running a unique ring that is an iron ring at core, so it has some, but it doesn't have as much as it could have. Even at this level, it doesn't have as much as it could have. So it's got like better resist than I would have at this point. So that's one thing I gotta do, is gotta do a lot of resistance struggling to keep us resistance capped as we upper damage. Which is kind of what's slowing down, swapping over into higher damage. We're looking... Next item's 51. Swap to this 51 if I want. That might be a little resist problematic. Oh no, that's only 8 all. Like, I'd lose priority elements, so I'd have to be a little careful, but we'd just be tossing that in the stockpile, so if I need it later, I can pick it back up again. More damage is the better damage. We are fire resist capped, so I'm gonna go face the optional boss instead of zooming through here, just because I want that skill point. If you're not capped yet, I would probably skip the boss we're about to go do, because you take a lot of fire damage in that fight. If you're not resist capped, I might avoid it until you are resist capped. That's what we're looking for. Is normally in Act 1 you would take the side path because the way forward is blocked. In Act 6 we unblocked it in Act 1, or at the end of, well, in Act 2 we unblocked it, right? So it's still unblocked in Act 6. So that's actually the way forward, whereas the side path has the Goatman boss, which is the Goatman God boss, which is what we're going to go fight right now. There's his room. Valley of the Fire Dancer. Hello, Abernath. I believe this guy is physical fire mix, so he does a bit of fire and a bit of physical, which is why you probably want to be fire resist kept when you face him. Otherwise, this fire stuff can hit pretty hard. And obviously he's bringing in more burning goat demons, which presumably also do fire damage. He's got 2 phases, so when I take him down to half, he'll actually move on to the next arena, and I'll have to chase him there. There we go. I suppose also if you're not tanky enough to handle being jumped on by Goatman, maybe try to overlevel a little bit before you come through here, so you have a little more hit points to not get stunned by the goatman. Yeah, still a little lacking in the damage department, but it's a lot more comfortable than it was back in Act 3. Act 3 was real bad. Well, the end of Act 3 was real bad. Act 4 we started to fix it, and it's really come online now in 6. I'm not feeling as bad in 6. Once he finishes his animation, we can check to see if that's worth swapping to.
Good souls were
It's going to be another minor one, so it has to be a swap here. So do I want 3 Sentinel Stationary or less Ignite duration? I suppose I don't get the bonus in red there until I get to Axe. Upgrade effect does not apply until... Yeah, you gotta beat Katava to get the upgrade. Okay. So Fizz damage or Ignite. I'm going to go fit with the Ignite. This way we don't have to worry about the damage over time. I don't have any good way to clear that right now. I think my SRS build has the Ignite clear on the health pot. So if my health is starting to look real bad, I just boop the health recovery pot and we'll turn the fires off if the character's on fire. So I don't really think about it on that character. This character is going to be entirely trying to do it by just either fire resisting it to not have it in the first place, or regenning through it, which isn't super great. Isn't necessarily the best solution to that, but it's a temporary solution. And you know what they say about temporary solutions? Nothing's more permanent than a temporary solution. And now we travel through here. We'll probably take the detour to kill the other optional boss as well, but otherwise we basically just go down this road. On our way to find the crab boss. We're also trying to get, I suppose story-wise, we're also trying to get into the Act 2 town. So shortly we're going to reach the point where we're going to find out the access to the Act 2 town is blocked for some reason. We're wondering why. We decide going the long way around, like we did in Act 1, is going to be the solution to try to get in there from the other side. See if that works. And in that process, we run into the crab boss that is the Act boss of 6. What am I going to do next? I need a life. We got life in there. We don't... Well, actually, no. We probably do need life. I probably should take the detour for life at this point. Yeah, that's probably better life. Go that way and pick that life up. Get up to 1800. I don't need to take much life to get there before the Act boss, but a little bit more health wouldn't hurt. Oh, you got life regen. You're not worth hanging around for. Okay, we're out. Run to the end of the zone. So in the riverways here is where we're going to take the detour to kill the, what I think the mind control god, or is it the parasite god or whatever it is? And 48 zone, so we're keeping up with level. We're not falling behind like we were Act 3, 4, which I think is what's helping with the damage a little bit. It's also kind of important in this point for the health, right? So if I was to run that far behind, I would need more health from other sources. So the road is right or left? Must have been left. Go far enough left, okay. There it is. Usually you don't have to cross the stream to get to that portal. Okay, so in the back of this zone is the cave where the guy is that we want to fight. You might remember this from Act 2. This is the area where we fought Oak. His arena is still there, though I don't think he's there anymore. I don't think there's like a zombie corpse of him or anything. That way you don't have to run into the proverbial, did someone else kill him when you didn't kill him, or did you kill him and unless he's there sort of conundrum. I think all of them, regardless of whether you defeat them there or not, are not going to be at their spawns from Act 2. I kill them all every time, so it wouldn't... I'd run into the same situation every time, so that's why I'm not 100% sure. So how easy the zone for you is going to depend upon how many hit points your character has, and what's the resistance to sort of chaos and poison. Because I think this is mostly chaos damage inbound I'm taking right now, which high hit point builds just tend to take reasonably well, especially high regen hit point builds take reasonably well. Whereas ES builds don't take well at all. That wasn't that bad on the SRS build just because of how much damage the SRS build has. Whereas this build has the hit points where it's sort of doing it. It's just not a problem. As you see every once in a while, I do have to pop a health pot to keep up with the regen. But otherwise everything else is going reasonably well, so that's a good sign. So now the boss is up. Hello, boss. Probably shouldn't stand in the poison. Don't have infinite health pots. Okay, so it's moving. Moving again. Yeah, but I tend not to find this fight to be that hard, which is why I didn't delay to come in here. But there's a first time to be wrong, so I could be wrong and I could die. Though it doesn't look like the damage is seeming reasonable right now. There we go. And if you're wondering what the 4 major gods is, so right now we're waiting for this guy to talk to see if we want to solve our god effects. The 4 major gods across the top, which is the other set, are the act bosses. From this act, the next act, and the act after that. Might take that later. Right now it's not worth it. Right now we're not burning through our health pots. So that's a little bit better if you want health pot sustain. Because you can use that to, as long as you're not using your health pots too quickly, it means your health pots will always come back. So it's really nice for health pots to stand against bosses if you're doing a bossing build. But for just map clearing, there's usually enough random guys that I'm not worried about health. Otherwise I'm going to be struggling against the bosses, because that's what you'd use it for, is dealing with the bosses. So. So there's 2 skill points I could go pick up. I probably am going to go pick them up. I'm just not going to pick them up right away. I'm going to get into at least... I'm actually not sure where I'm going to stop. I am going to stop before the boss. We're not going to go all the way to the boss without taking them. Oops. Oh, I got. That's one of the reasons I don't play hardcore, is because I make silly mistakes like that on builds that I think people, well, maybe this build isn't actually as tanky as I think it is, but this is a reasonably tanky build from my understanding. But from builds that more experienced players probably would not have die-in situations where I die. We are far enough in, because we've beaten Kava the first time, that dying does have a penalty now, so we are losing 5% XP every time we die. So we want to try to avoid dying unless... well, we want to avoid try dying because we don't want to constantly set back our XP. Because this early on, 5% XP isn't a lot, but if you're having frequent deaths, that does not bode well for when you get to maps and it jumps from 5 to 10%. I'm just realizing I could have more damage if I'm correct in my memory. Let me finish this fight off like so. So I should be able to swap to you. So that's 9 to 22 instead of just a bunch of resists. So we should be still should be defense capped, and we are. Still defense capped. That's a bunch of damage, so we should immediately start feeling that in the next couple fights. Oops. What did I screw up? You were giving me stats, weren't you? You were giving me stats. Now we're gonna work the stats out. I forgot to check for stats. So you're 15 all resist or all stats. Because we don't have the dex. So we take that and get our ground slam back. That's the int. Yeah, I'm missing the int. Okay, so that's gonna be a little bit annoying until we get the int, because we can't dash. But we can at least get back to adventuring. I should be able to get 15, or get the intel I need for that pretty quick. That's one reason why people frequently don't level up their movement gems on off-stat builds, is so that they don't have to worry about changing the gear around and suddenly not having the stats for it. See, still capped? Yep. Should still be capped. As you can see, I think things that I was previously having to 2-hit are now dying in 1 hit, so that damage is pretty useful. And I can always swap back if I need to after we kill Katavik. Though it will be disappointing to lose the hit points at that point. Or not to lose the damage at that point. So I don't know why that part frequently kills me. It didn't kill me this time, but I definitely died there a couple times before on other builds. Probably just the raw number of guys and the fact that a lot of my builds have AoE, or at least have good clear, but they generally don't have the best AoE, if that makes sense. They're pretty narrow-focused AoE. So it was definitely the Val Grand Slam saving the day. So we need this black flag to continue the quest, which is why we didn't need to talk to Nessa earlier. We only need to pick up the flag from her there. Yeah, I'll probably go back to town after we deliver the flag to its location, because right after that there's a portal. I think it's the last portal before the last quick travel zone before the boss. Oop, dead end. Golden Amulet, probably not useful in this build. I'll pick it up and check out what it is anyway, because it might be useful for a later build. If I get creative. Again, normally wouldn't pick up Bismuth in a map until near the end, or unless I think I'm really safe to finish it, or don't care if I don't finish it. Sometimes I don't care if I'm not finishing my maps, because I've got what I want off the map, regardless of whether I finish or not. But because of the zone that I'm just planning on leaving, I don't need to worry as much about area hazards during a hard fight. Just looking for the way out, which isn't that way. I think that might have been a reference to where the fight was at the end of Act 1, based on the geometry of that tile. Oh, I've gone the wrong way. This is definitely the wrong way. There's a locked door. Gonna be nothing to loot behind there, but, you know, I've come all the way over here, I might as well engage with the secret mechanic. Would you come over here, hit the switch? Oh yeah, that's... I'm not going in there. We're gonna hit the switch, show you there's... If you're trying to find the hidden cavern hideout, that's where you go for it. I think it's there every time you come in here. We'll pick up the belts and the item. It probably won't be good for this build, because it's pretty rare to just hit the... well, to hit what I need, right? So I need guaranteed damage to attacks, guaranteed to melee attacks, and like a resist for it to be worth the slot. And that combo is pretty rare. You can guarantee it if you're hitting it with... oh, actually, I rolled it on that one. That might be worth it. 4 to 8 or 6 to 12. 6 all? No, I think I want that resist. Well, actually, do I need that resist? As I was saying, okay, so I do need a little bit of that resist. So I can't swap right now. We'll think about that. Yeah, we could fix that ring. That ring's fixable. I can just slap another resist on there and it'll be good. But as far as the ring goes, it's not... It could have something that's worth picking up, which is why I picked it up. And as you can see there, it's just... It's a rare hit that I would hit that. And apparently I hit it, so I wasn't expecting to hit the rare hit there, just on a whim. Grab that. That's going to give us enough life. So I'll probably get one more level, so I'll take the one level and the 2 passives to get down here for the last endurance charge. Contempt. Oh, Contempt is the one we want, so we will do this one. I believe Contempt is the fizz damage on rings and amulets. Probably not worth it on most attack builds, physical attack builds, melee attack builds. It's really worth it on this build in particular because we're getting such a large percentile more to damage. Yeah, as you can see, ring 5 to 11 min on the roll. That's how you can really get rings going quickly if you find a bunch of those essences for this style of build. Well, I suppose I could fix the resistances by picking up some of the shield resistances, some of the shield passives I'm planning on picking up soon would grant some resistances. So I don't even have to fix the item. I'm going to fix the item, but I don't have to fix the item to get resist capped again with it. Oh, Consecrated Ground. This guy's got Consecrated Ground following them around. Consecrated Ground provides regen. I accidentally, I think one of the red maps... Oh no, it was the last yellow map I was trying to complete this season. I'd accidentally bricked it because it was a Soul Eater. It was a boss that's always Soul Eater, and I accidentally spawned Consecrating Ground on the map. So the boss was whenever it would kill me, it was just healing, and the whole Soul Eater mechanic of the boss meant the boss had infinite ads. That inevitably you have to kill the ads. There's too many of them, right? So it was really hard to kill, and it was just healing faster than I could kill it. Because of the consecrating ground in the map. And I had a similar thing that this build has, where it has minus 50% regen. So that's just telling you how much the consecrated ground was healing it, and how much Soul Eater does combined. It's like that annoying stat that you don't want the thing to have. So you've nerfed half of it off of it. Oh yeah, that's still not enough. I suppose that does mean certain combos you can make to make it so that it doesn't regen at all. So I don't think there's anything stopping you from bringing the regen to 0. So I think it's Frost Orb. Frost Orb, anything you hit with it loses half its regen for the duration of exposure. So if you combine that with the passive, you can bring monster regen down to 0%. Obviously, that's probably a mage build that you're doing if you're doing that. Could probably do that on the minion build. It would add another button to the minion build and make the socket situation even more complicated, but wouldn't be the worst choice in the minion build. So to light the beacon, to throw the flag in, you got this little mini game where you gotta escort the peg to the hole. You leave the circle, the peg goes backwards. If you're not in the first half of the circle, the peg doesn't move. Well, I think if you're the closer you are to the first half of the circle, the quicker it moves. Maybe this wasn't the best map to do the hurricane thing on. Though we're still in maps, so the hurricane thing doesn't really hit that hard yet. It gets real hard hitting in the maps. Again, we're gonna pick up the amulet, because the amulet might be good. Oops, I didn't mean to hit the teleport scroll, I meant to hit the other one. If I didn't want Fizz to attacks on here, that would be good, because it's got double resist. But right now we're not going to worry about it. So I'm going to take the Dex mod here. The Dex mod is enough to put the Impale back on, so we can get a little bit more damage back. Because we have 6 chance to Impale, and if we've Impaled enemies, it's 13% more damage. Yeah, in comparison to the end of Act 3... No, it was the end of Act 4. In comparison to the end of Act 4, where I was really feeling really bad about the damage, this is a whole lot better. I haven't changed much, arguably, but what I have changed has made a world of difference. We talked to William Roth here to sail to the Brine King's Wreath. So I'm going to end this vid after fighting the Brine King himself. But I'm quickly going to do a little bit. Oh, I meant to go back to town so I can pick up the 2 skill points. We're going to pick up the 2 skill points prior to facing the boss. The biggest thing it'll do is it'll probably give us about 8% more
Good tidings to you.
damage to him. Because we'll have another endurance charge. And then the endurance charge will also give us a bunch more tankiness.
Another damn.
Because we'll have more phase resist.
Farewell.
We'll see if that helmet's any good. Nope, the helmet's no good. Helmet's no good. If you had what we want, you'd be good. Lightning damage of enemies hitting you is lucky. Allies damage it hits is lucky. Okay, so this is an interesting team amulet. But well, like most people, I'm running basically solo, so. We already have one in the inventory, or we already have one in the storage. We need to save you until we get the int.
Good tidings to you. Time and tide.
Well, I suppose. Did I run past one? I did run past one. I could pick that up to get my dash back. But I'm not going to do that right now. I'll do that later. So there's the endurance charge. Well, we were contemplating you. You have an empty suffix, so we could probably make you work right now. So let's go to hideout and see if we can make you work right now. Because more damage is more damage. I always like more damage. Better on you or better on you? Probably better on you. There's an ult for you. So you'd put us 4 short on fire, which is easy to fix. You'd put us... We wouldn't even have enough of a stat. I think we'd lose too much dex doing that. Yeah, we'd lose too much dex doing that. Is the dex really that's doing that? Yeah, it's the dex doing that. Okay. Yeah, I think we're better off if we're doing it. We're better off doing the right one. It might not be better for very long, very much longer. What? Can I improve you too? Oh, I'd have to do a prefix on you. Oh, I could do increased damage on you. In strength. So that's why we're losing the dex there. Take you off and not a value. So we could do 15-17% damage. That would be better than you. So let's contemplate doing that. Oops. Requires being 64. I am not 64. Okay, we'll hold on to you, because we'll slot you in next. We'll slot you when we get to 64. Okay. That means we're 4 undercapped, which means we should do something on you to get that back. Check what I actually need. So I need 4 fire. I have no chaos, so I'll do my usual grab fire and chaos combo, like so. That's a little bit better of a defensive spread. Oh no, I grabbed fire and cold, not fire and chaos. Oh well. Oh, now we're really over in cold. Okay. Well, I say really over. Now we're that's where we want to be for post Katava. So we need to find the extra on the other 2, which we'll probably get off the body armor. Yeah, well, we'll get most of the lightning off the body armor, so we'll probably get that. I've probably got the gear here that'll make it work. You come back up at 64. You come at 65. We're gonna reevaluate this again as we level up later. Let's. Yeah, I think we're at the position to go fight the boss. So let's go fight that boss. I do want a flame dash that's working. It doesn't need to be a level flame dash, so I'm just gonna give it to Lily. Lily, give me a flame dash. Thank you. And now let's go fight that boss. So the build's still probably running a little slower than I'd want it to. Ideally, I'd probably want to be able to do an act. Probably would want to do an act in an hour. We're running about an hour and a half for the act. So it's probably, and that's all coming down to I still don't quite have the level of damage I'd want. Because I'm greedy when it comes to damage. I like a lot of damage. We might as well tag the vein in case it drops a divination card. It didn't, but it can. This is a level 50 zone, we're level 53, so we don't need to stop and smell the roses, we just need to find the boss himself. So there's the divination card. That's the divination card that frequently drops. Which is why, even if you're full and you see those, it's still worth poking them. Because all it takes is a poke to and potentially have a good divination card pop. Oh, I meant to activate that strongbox. Bunch of currency items to pick up. Was a unique strongbox decided the decent probability of interesting stuff dropping out of it, so it's going to be worth at least the pause to complete. If it had just been a normal one, I would have just left it. Okay, so here we are at the boss, 3 levels above the zone. So for speedrunning, you might be a little bit higher level, or it might be a little bit lower level though, for speed learning. If you're running a build that scales off of gem level, you might run a little bit higher. Unless you're just trying to get to maps because the build's feeling strong. This one's running a little, again, as I'm saying, running a bit slower than I'm expecting it to, because we're about an hour 20 into an act I normally would like to take about an hour. But the damage is starting to pick up, so that's good. Again, this is a boss with phases. So the first phase, it's just him on the island. He does have this AoE water shell thing. As he moves into a second phase, he'll go invincible, and you'll have to do sort of dodging things. With my over-resist, I probably don't need to dodge the things, but it's a good idea to dodge the things. Once that phase is over, he comes back out of it, and you just beat him up. The veterans, none of this is probably surprising, but they don't go back invulnerable again, and the wave will close in again, and you'll have to dodge. And I think the final stage, both Nessa stays out casting, and the water stays really close in. But he's not invincible, so you have to finish him off in that phase. There's the one more vulnerable phase. I think the vulnerable phases actually trigger them the first time. Might also be timed based, where they go off every so often. Yeah, so this is where he sort of acts like he's in the vulnerable phase when he's not in the vulnerable phase. So we got the lightning coming from above, like he would. The water stays in pretty close, but he's still vulnerable to taking damage. And that's the fight. So yeah, running slower than I'd want to. Usually I'd probably do that in an hour on a better build. But this is a meme build. This is a Facebreaker build. It is still quite casually doing everything. Now that I've fixed the damage was getting really bad at the end of Act 4, and was pretty bad through 4, or pretty bad through 5. Nothing in there that's super worth it. Obviously we only have one god, so we'll take that one major god. We'll just pickle this all up, pick up what we can as loot, and then we'll head out of the zone.
Hold on to your cockles, me
So I don't think anyone watched live. If you're watching on the Switch VOD and you want to see earlier parts that aren't up, feel free to hop on my YouTube channel at We'll Call 100. If you're watching this on YouTube, the prior parts should also be up. And depending on when you watch this, there might be future parts up as well. I am planning to play this all the way through into Acts, so there'll probably be one part per act. Plus I'll have one showing off how well it works in maps, and then I'll probably have one sort of recap explaining what worked, what didn't work, as far as the homemade build sort of effect goes. And maybe make some recommendations on how you can not suffer the same way I did in Act 4 and 5. So catch you all next time. This is where this recording is going to stop, and the stream's going to stop. Though no one's watching, I think.